Today I've got a little bit of a different video for you guys. With the lockdown easing here in the UK, it's almost time to start travelling. But with flights to almost anywhere still not really happening, I thought it was time to start exploring the beautiful British countryside with some camping gear. So my friends over at Jackery sent me over their Power Station Explorer 240 and their monster SolarSaga 100w portable solar panel. Hello everyone, my name's Mike and here at Tech Moon I uncover Apple tech and tech in general, so hit that subscribe button if that's what you're into. I've been really excited to get out of the house finally, and Jackery sent me over a little care package to make sure that I still had my tech powered up, as well as some of my other stuff that needs power too. Now, this isn't a sponsored video, but I was really impressed by this stuff. So the Jackery Explorer 240 is a little bit larger than some of the competition out there, because mainly of its handle, but this thing only weighs 3 kilograms, which is a lot lighter than pretty much most of the competition out there. The Power Station Explorer 240 has one AC outlet, which is 230 volts at 200 watts with 400 peak wattage, and then it also has 2 USB ports and then one car DC port. Now these ports are great for charging laptops, mini coolers, drones and any other outdoor electronics that you might have. Now because this thing is 240 watts, it can actually charge my MacBook Air M1 over 4 times, which is basically a week's worth of use. So you have these little buttons right next to all the inputs and they light up green when they are pressed to power it on. You may have actually heard the fan turn on, but I'll get into that later. Now, I had my laptop charging plus a massager using the DC plug and even my phone charging through the USB ports, and this thing wasn't even struggling. I really love the display on this thing. So as you can see, you've got a light up section just over here, so you can see it obviously at night, and it tells you the wattage output as well as the wattage input. Now the display is awesome because it definitely tracks how much juice you're using in watts as well as the battery percentage. You also, like I said, have the input as well, which is again in watts. This makes the geek in me really happy because I just love to see this stuff. Talking about inputs, you can have this charged from a normal plug, which takes about 5.5 hours. You can also charge it via a car charger. That does take longer, around 10 hours or so. And then you have this huge, well, I'll show you. You have this huge 100-watt solar panel which can take up to 5.5 hours to charge in good sunlight. Now there is also a charge pass-through, which means you can use the power station while charging. I did actually test this out and it worked fine and definitely didn't have any problems. I mean, the fan did kick on, but overall good experience with the charge pass-through. As I mentioned earlier, this thing does have a fan and it does kick in around 30 minutes of just using my laptop plugged in, maybe sooner if you have any higher wattage items. But honestly, it wasn't very loud, especially when you're outside. Honestly, you're not even going to notice it. Now it does cut out once the internals get cool enough, but I would have liked to have seen a temperature sensor just to keep my eye on the internals, but that might just be my issue because I like to know everything. Anyway, it's nice to know that they've actually built this thing with a fan. So if you are in a hot country or anything like that and you're using this thing, then you are going to be protected. Now, in terms of protection, this is overcurrent protection, short current, overcharge, over discharge, over voltage, and even thermal protection. So that's a lot of protection, which is important if you're out in the middle of the woods with this thing. Now let's take a look at this solar panel because this thing is huge and it's going to need to be because it's got to charge this power station in good time. It connects to the power station via the DC connection at the front and the connection seems pretty good. So on a cloudy day it was definitely not getting 100 watts of power, and you probably won't want to use this in the winter for camping or anything like that, but I guess any juice is better than no juice. On a sunny day it does get pretty close to the 100 watts, which is good to see. And just to let you know, the power station does have a built-in MPPT controller, which is good to see. So the cable is actually in this little pouch over here, and this is plenty long enough. I've just kept the ties there just to keep it nice and tidy. But the Jackery solar panel actually comes with a USB Type-C 5V at 3 amps, so not PD, but again, plenty fast enough. And then you also have a USB-A port, which is at 5V, 2.4 amps. And then you got a little LED just to let you know that the solar panel is actually generating some power. So once you've opened it up, you've got this little stand, which sort of is Velcroed in, and then you just place the panel down, and to be honest, you've got a little bit of movement, like you can sort of direct it, as you can see. And yeah, that's literally it. It's a very simple design, but honestly works really, really well. Now it is on the slightly heavier side at, I think, 4.6 or 4.7 kilograms for this 100-watt panel, but it is better built than any 100-watt panel pretty much out there, in my opinion. Jackery have definitely focused on the design as well as the function of these, because they do look really nice, but they're not the only players in the game, and it's not all perfect. Firstly, having just one sort of AC plug does feel a little bit limiting, and even though in general I think the port selection does seem about right for this size and battery size, I would have liked to have had an extra plug, even at the cost of decreased battery life by running 2 appliances through this small wattage power station. Also, even though you get 2 USB ports and an extra 2 USB ports with the solar panel, except for the one on the solar panel, there's no USB-C port on the power station itself, and a lot of smartphones now coming with USB-C cables, and it just would have been nice to have one USB-C and one USB-A like they did with the solar panel. Also, I'm glad they haven't done the whole gimmicky thing by adding a Qi charger on the top of this thing or whatever, because you don't want to use any more energy than needed, and Qi charging is slower and less efficient, which doesn't really make sense when this thing is trying to be as efficient as possible. Now, even though the handle itself is very, very rugged and is definitely more durable than those thinner folding ones, I still prefer those thinner folding ones because they just fold away and doesn't take up as much space as this thing does. So even though, yes, it's a bit stronger, I would have liked the folding one because then I could have stacked something on top of it, and it's also easier to pack. Also, I feel like it's a missed opportunity, but they could have added some floodlights to the front of this thing, because it's annoying having to carry another lighting setup for camping when I would have just liked to have carried this and have a, you know, even just one floodlight in this corner or something like that. I feel like they could have done it with this power station. I would like to see a floodlight in the V2 version of this thing. So now let's get into the solar panel, because I do have some mixed thoughts on it. So in terms of build quality, as I mentioned before, it is definitely one of the best built out there in this category, but it also weighs more than some of its competition, like the all-power 100-watt solar panel, which is over 1 kilogram lighter than this thing and is basically the same size, plus it's £100 cheaper. Also, All Power does sell a 120-watt version, which is 20% more power and folds up smaller too, and it weighs slightly less than this thing at a lower cost. Now, both of those options aren't as well built as this, and I think that's the theme with Jackery. Rather than filling all of their products with features that you may not even want, they focus on durability and build quality, and when you're camping or going on adventures, that's exactly what you want. Of course, I would have liked to have seen a bit more port selection and features, but that's because I'm a geek. But you know that you can trust this power station and solar panel, which I think is really important when you're in the middle of nowhere. Now, I wouldn't be making this video if I didn't recommend it, because I really do think that this is one of the best power stations out there, despite its limited ports. But the solar panel is a little bit 50-50 for me. If you need the best build quality, then this is the one to go for, and this will last you years. However, there are some lighter and cheaper options out there when it comes to this category of solar panel. But like I said, this is one of the best built solar panels that I've tested when camping. But as always, this is a discussion, so please leave a comment down below on your best camping tech, because I really want to check out some more. Also, I'll leave some links down in the description below if you want to pick one up and to support the channel. If you haven't already, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TechCarMoon, drop me a like in this video and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can see more from me. But if you want to see more from me right now, you guys know what to do. There are 2 videos right over here. Click on one of them. You're going to enjoy it. Anyway, look after yourselves and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.